Well, I don't know if you saw my absolute disaster over on my other channel where I tried paint pouring. Well, it didn't work out for me. But I've got a lot of colours left over that I'd mixed up. And this is just my normal acrylic paint that I've mixed with a little bit of water. And the white has got one drop of silicone in. So what I thought I'd do was see if I can make some skins. As it's a beautiful day outside, this will dry really quickly. And then I can use those skins in my resin work. So what I'm doing first is putting down some colour on this tray. Now all I've done to prepare this tray is I gave it a bit of a wipe over and then I sprayed a little bit of mould release on it because I thought, well, that might help get this skin off. We'll be able to see that in a minute. Well, when it's dry, not in a minute, obviously. I'm spreading that all over. Now that should start to make some cells because I've put that silicone oil in it. I just couldn't get it to work on the canvases. And look, it has started to make some cells there already. Now what I'm going to do is put some other colours on top of it. Just random. I've got no real pattern in mind anywhere that I want to do. I've got to use these colours because I love these colours, as you know. Now what I'm going to do is add a load of white here. And then with my clean palette knife, just quickly skim over that like that. Who knows what's going to happen to it? Hopefully it'll work out. Who knows? I'm just going to run over this with a torch like this, and hopefully that's going to bring out some cells. And I'm just giving it a quick spray with some 99% alcohol, and I'm working in a very well ventilated area. And we'll leave that to do its thing. And then I'll put it outside in the really warm sunlight. That should dry within a couple of days. And we can have a look and see what we've got. Well, this is all dried now. It's been outside in the really warm sun for the last 3 days. So it should actually come off quite easily now. Massive thank you to everyone that got me a coffee last month. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. It's been really difficult couple of months with one thing and another, and the coffees cheer me up no end and enable me to do all these experiments and things, so thank you. And your names are on my coffee board on both channels. Well, I've made several skins, and as you can see, some of them are quite reversible. I quite like some of the patterns in that, and I definitely like the patterns in that one. And same with that. Not so sure that's too reversible. I think I might have made that a little bit more too white. And this is the one as well that I didn't get off very easily, but I do like some of the patterns that are that side as well. So I'm going to show you how to use these in your resin jewellery. One of the things you must remember though is there may be silicone coming up to the surface, and these have been curing or dried now for probably about 3 or 4 weeks at least. So before I do anything to these, what I'm going to do is give them a really good clean using some 99% alcohol. And the reason is, if there's silicone that has come up to the surface, when you go to put your resin on there, it will just repel the resin as if it was a mould release. So you want to make sure that you've got it lovely and clean. You can see there's dirt on that as well. A good old rub and removing any of that potential silicone oil that is anywhere on this. And if I do the whole thing at once, then that way I haven't got to worry, oh, did I get that bit? Or have I done that bit? Or any of those things. Well, the first thing I'm going to make is show you that you don't have to make just jewellery with this. I've got members that make some amazing things with their skins, pictures and all sorts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out my shape here to show you how to make a coaster. So I decide where I want my coaster to be, and I like that bit there. All I'm going to do is draw around my coaster using a permanent marker like that. And I know if I cut on the inside of these using a pair of scissors, the inside of this line, then that should roughly fit inside that coaster. So let's have a look. Yeah, so that's not a bad fit at all. All I need to do now is just trim it up a little bit, and then that should be fine. So I'm going to trim around each one of these edges, taking a little bit off. I'd rather take a little bit off at a time than be like a bull in a china shop, which I normally am, and mess the whole thing up. That fits in there quite well now, so I need to flip that over because this is the base of the actual coaster, and that's going to be the front. So it's really easy to decide how you want your jewellery bits. All I do is, again, exactly the same thing. So I'll push down like that, draw around it, cut it out until it fits. And the great thing is you can mix these and match them. So for instance, I'm going to cut that one out because I particularly like that wave there. But I want some white to go on the bottom of that one. So what I'm going to do is cut out here like this. So I can have a bit of white going on the bottom of this, like that. But I don't want it to go straight across, so what I'm going to do is put it at an angle like this, and then I can pop that onto there. And then I've got a two-tone effect, which is really easy to achieve. So I'm now going to make all these bits and cut some more out, and then I'll show you how to fill them. So now I've got all those cut out, my next step is to put them onto some damming tape. So I'll just roll out a piece of damming tape like this. Now, I know people have had problems with damming tape in the past, and it can be a bit of a nightmare, especially if it sticks to these scissors like this. But if you follow just a few simple steps, then you're not going to have any trouble. So what I do is I put all my items on. That doesn't need damming tape because that's got a back to it, look. What I always suggest is, and I've already done it with these two, is make sure that your bezels are really clean. So there's no grease or anything on there from your fingers or anything else. Just a little bit of 99% alcohol. And then pop that into there. That'll help it stick. Now, I'm not going to waste that bit of damming tape because I'll get one more out of that somewhere else. So all I'll do is I'll cut that off and put it back on the roll. Once you've got them on there and you're all cleaned up, take a pen or something else that's round and then just run that over your edge like this, your top edge. That will help push that down into the damming tape. And it really does make a big difference. So fill these with a very small layer of UV resin. And to be honest, they shouldn't leak now. And I can't see any leaks at all. I've used the low viscosity one because I don't want any form of dome at the moment. But if you can't get hold of that one, then get the new formula UV resin. It's a really low odor one. And also, it actually is very good resin. And it is a mixture of kind of the low and the high viscosity. So it's a medium viscosity. And then what I want to do is cure these up, but not cure them up fully. So I'm only going to cure them up for about 1.5 to 2 minutes. I want them to be sticky for the next stage. Again, no leaks, which is really useful and so much more helpful than having to tidy them up afterwards. And just following that simple process really does make a great difference. Saves you so much time in the long run. Right, I'm just going to check those with a stick to see how cured they are. Yep, that's about right for me. So the next thing is to put your pieces in that you've cut out. Now, I didn't cut this one out very well at all. And I'm going to push those quite firmly, but not so I push the uncured resin out into that base. Because they will create and trap a line of air underneath them. And I don't actually mind about that. Look, I've got it stuck to my thumb. Now, we are going to cure these up underneath again, so don't worry about that. We will get those lovely and cured, even though this bottom bit isn't as cured as we would like to start with. But this way, it helps these pieces stick really well and stops them floating up into your resin when you put the next bit on. You could take your gloves off for this bit, but I don't want to keep taking my gloves on and off. So now I'm going to fill them with the low viscosity resin again. You can always dome them at the end. Order some more of this, I think. There we go. We'll give those a couple of seconds and then we'll burst any bubbles that we've got come up on them. We will get some. And now we can cure these up fully. While that's curing up, what I'm going to do is mix up the epoxy resin for the coaster. And I'm using the T-Expert Crystal Clear. I love this resin. It was on offer, so that's why I bought it. And it really does work well. It's self-leveling, non-flammable, and it's very yellow resistant as well. It's a 1-to-1 resin. And it mixes up lovely. I will link it in the description below, so don't worry about that. Quick thank you to all my members whose names are coming up now. If you'd like to become a member of the channel and benefit from all the perks of being a member, then the link for that is in the description below. And there are a lot of perks. Well, they're all cured now on the front, and what I need to do is cure them on the back. And that will now cure that resin from underneath, and then I'll move that one to there in a second. So I've poured that in now, and as you can see, there's very few bubbles. There might be a few trapped, and if there's any trapped, all you got to do is remove them with something like a blunt nose needle. That is the back of the piece there. So I'm going to slide this in like this, trying to avoid trapping as many bubbles as I can on this. Also, check me out on Instagram. I've started using Instagram now, getting quite a few followers on there, and I post on there 3 times a week with some sneak peeks of what I'm up to on both channels and some other tips and things, and you get to know a bit more about me. So check it out. Links are in the description. Leave it for a minute or two until the bubbles have come up to the top, and then burst those off and let it cure up. Well, these should be cured enough now to take off this damming tape, and all you need to do is slowly pull this off. Now, there is a bubble trapped under this one. I can see it. I actually really like it. See that bubble in there? I think that looks really nice, but that's not going to be the front anyway. The fronts are this side. Now what I'm going to do is dome it up using some of this high viscosity UV resin because it domes up lovely. I use it for doming up everything. And all I need to do on this is layer on, because it's a nice high viscosity one, it sticks up quite a bit, so you get a lovely dome on it. What we'll do is we'll just burst any bubbles that may have come up, and then we'll cure that up. I love the way that that skin has come out in that coaster. Now, it did lift in one corner there. I should have pushed it down a little bit, and I can see there's 3 little bubbles there, and that's what caused it to lift. So I should have been a little bit more careful on that. But the colours have come out beautiful on that. What a lovely looking coaster. And also, these have all come out really well. That is without a doubt my favourite one. I mean, look at that. Look how pretty that is. That would make a great pendant. The same with that one. I think the pattern on that has come out really, really well. I like the two-tone bit as well. I think that just breaks it up a little bit, makes it a little bit different. But you don't have to put that in there if you don't want it. And look at the dome on there. And that's what happens with the high viscosity resin. You get a really good dome. And there's the final heart. Got a kind of dull background, but I do like the front. I hope you've enjoyed this. It's a good way of using that stuff that's left over. Really useful, and you can make such pretty things with it as well. And something that's a little bit different. And don't forget, everyone is going to be completely unique. And I think that's really important. Be sure to share this video wherever you want to share it. It really helps my videos to get out there. And make sure that you check out the video that's coming up next as well, because you don't want to be missing out on this, because it's an absolute must in your crafting studio and resin studio. Take care. Enjoy your resin. Bye.